There were moments when you felt invisible, when your voice echoed into silence. You spoke from the heart, but no one seemed to hear you. You gave love, but received distance. You showed up for people who never showed up for you. And in those quiet, lonely hours you wondered, why does no one see me? Why am I always the one forgotten? But listen, my child. You were not being ignored, you were being refined. You were not being overlooked, you were being prepared. I allowed them to ignore you, not because you weren't valuable, but because you needed to learn your value didn't come from them. Every time someone turned their back, I was showing you something eternal. You were never meant to find your worth in their attention. You were meant to find it in me. Because the moment you need the world to notice you, you give the world the power to define you. When you cried and no one listened, I was listening. When you felt small in a room full of people, I was standing right beside you. When you thought your presence didn't matter, I was whispering, you are mine, and I see you. You see, I had to hide you for a reason. I had to let certain doors close, certain people walk away, and certain opportunities slip through your fingers. Because I was shaping something greater inside you. Had everyone celebrated you too early, you would have settled for their applause instead of my purpose. Had everyone noticed you, you would have stopped searching for me. So I let you sit in the silence. Not to punish you, but to purify your perspective. Not to break you, but to build your identity on something unshakable. When no one replied to your messages, I was teaching you that communication with me never fails. When they scrolled past your pain, I was showing you that your healing wouldn't come from likes, but from love, divine love. When they forgot your name, I was engraving it on the palm of my hand. When you felt left out, I was setting you apart. When you thought you were waiting for their attention, you were actually waiting for my timing. The world's rejection was my redirection. Their silence was my signal that it was time for elevation. I was removing the noise so you could finally hear my voice. I know how it felt. The nights when you stared at the ceiling, wondering what you did wrong. The mornings when you scrolled through your phone, hoping for a message that never came. The days when you showed up for people who didn't even notice your effort. And yet, in all of it, I was there. I was watching you learn the art of patience. I was teaching you to find peace without validation, to love without expectation, to give without being seen. Because the value I placed inside you was not meant to be recognized by everyone. It was meant to be revealed at the right time. Sometimes I let people ignore you so you could stop chasing them. Sometimes I let the door close so you would stop knocking on what was never meant for you. Sometimes I let your name be forgotten so I could rewrite your story in places where they'll never forget. When you felt unappreciated, I was teaching you how to appreciate yourself through my eyes. When you felt left behind, I was preparing you for what others weren't ready for. They didn't see your value because I was hiding it under layers of process. You were a diamond still being shaped by my hand. And diamonds don't shine in dirt. They shine after pressure, after fire, after time. So when they ignored your worth, you learned to walk in quiet confidence. You learned to pray instead of prove. You learned to be still instead of seen. And that stillness became your strength. The people who ignored you will one day see what I was building in you. But by then, you won't need their validation. Because you'll already know who you are. You'll realize that the silence that once hurt you was actually protecting you. I was removing you from spaces that couldn't handle your calling. I was shielding you from people who only wanted your presence, not your purpose. I was keeping you unseen until the right time. Because premature exposure ruins what I designed to grow in private. When you wondered why no one understood your heart, I was shaping a heart like mine. When you felt unseen, I was preparing to reveal you before those who need your light most. But first, I had to teach you what value really means. Value isn't in being chosen by people. It's in knowing you were chosen by me. Value isn't about being popular. It's about being purposeful. And purpose can only be discovered in the quiet, in the waiting, in the moments when no one claps. I was teaching you to love yourself the way I love you. Without condition, without comparison, without need for attention. Because when your worth is rooted in me, no rejection can shake it. When your confidence comes from me, no silence can steal it. When your identity rests in me, you no longer chase people. They'll start noticing you when I decide it's time. Every ignored message was a message from heaven. Stop waiting for them. I'm waiting for you. Every closed door was my way of saying, there's more ahead. So now walk in peace. Don't chase what didn't choose you. Don't beg to be seen, you already are. Don't question why they didn't care. Sometimes I blind them to your value so they won't mishandle it. When they ignored you, I was teaching you value. When they forgot you, I was reminding you who remembers you forever. When they left, I stayed. You thought it was rejection, but it was protection. You thought it was isolation, but it was preparation. You thought it was silence, but it was me, whispering truth into your soul louder than any applause ever could. You see, my child, you were never ignored. You were being positioned, hidden in plain sight, for the day when I will lift you up. Not for attention, but for impact. And when that day comes, you'll thank me for every unanswered message, every unseen effort, every lonely night, because you'll see it all had purpose. So hold your head high. You are not invisible. You are chosen. You are valued. You are becoming who I always knew you were. When they ignored you, I was teaching you to find worth in me. When they didn't choose you, I was teaching you that you were never meant to compete. When they doubted you, I was building your faith. Now you know. Your value was never up for their approval. It was sealed by my love, unshakable, eternal, complete. So rest. Stop trying to prove your worth. Stop chasing the ones who walked away. Because where I'm taking you, you won't need to beg for attention. Your presence will carry my glory, and those who once ignored you will see the light I placed in you, not to shame them, but to show them what happens when someone learns their true value. In me, when you were ignored, I was teaching you value, and now that you've learned it, no one can take it away. You see, my child, what you thought was rejection was the beginning of revelation. I was revealing to you the truth about love, about worth, about peace. Because I never wanted your peace to depend on people's presence. I wanted it to depend on mine. There were days you asked me, Lord, why do I always have to be the one who gives? Why am I the one left empty? And I whispered back, because I'm teaching you to give from abundance, not from approval. I was training your heart to love even when it's not loved back. To forgive when no one apologizes. To remain kind when the world turns cold. You didn't know it then. But every silent season was a spiritual classroom. Every unanswered text, every ignored call, every lonely moment. I was teaching you lessons no crowd could ever teach. When they ignored you, you learned to talk to me. When they rejected you, you learned to lean on me. When they forgot you, you remembered who never will. You began to see that your value was not in what you could give to others, but in who you were becoming through me. You were learning that being unseen doesn't mean being unworthy. Sometimes, being unseen means you are being set apart. I was hiding you from those who would drain your spirit, from those who would love your light but not your soul. I was protecting the purity of your heart, because it was too precious to be handled carelessly. There's a reason I kept you out of certain conversations. A reason you didn't fit in certain circles. A reason you were never chosen for what you thought you wanted. Because what I had for you was different. It wasn't built on attention, it was built on anointing. You are not meant to be understood by everyone. Your spirit doesn't resonate with every soul. Because what I've placed in you is rare, divine, and often misunderstood. So when people ignored you, it wasn't that they didn't see your worth. It's that they weren't meant to carry it. You were not made for everyone's table. You were made for my altar. When you cried for company, I gave you my presence. When you longed for comfort, I wrapped you in unseen grace. When you wanted to be noticed, I taught you to rest in being known by me. You thought the silence was punishment. But the silence was sacred. It's where I spoke to you the loudest. It's where you found strength you didn't know you had. It's where you stopped chasing people and started chasing purpose. I know, it wasn't easy. There were days you questioned everything. Your worth, your path, even my plan. You said, "Lord, everyone's moving ahead. Why am I still waiting?" And I replied, "Because your season is sacred. What I'm building in you takes time. If I had exposed you too early, the weight of your calling could have crushed you. So I protected you in the disguise of being ignored. You saw isolation, I saw incubation. You saw rejection, I saw redirection. You saw delay, I saw design. Every time they walked away, I was clearing your path. Every time they dismissed your effort, I was refining your heart. Every time you felt unseen, I was watching closely. Because your process mattered to me. I was shaping humility inside your greatness. I was shaping strength inside your silence. And I was shaping peace inside your storms. Do you see it now? Everything that hurt you was helping you. Every no was guiding you toward my yes. Every closed door was protection wrapped in mystery. They didn't notice your worth, but that's okay. Because I did. And when I open doors for you, no man can shut them. When I lift you up, no one can pull you down. But before the lifting, there must be the learning. Before the visibility, there must be the value. Before the recognition, there must be the refinement. So I taught you through silence. I showed you what true peace feels like when no one claps. What true joy feels like when no one congratulates. What true strength feels like when you stand alone. And now look at you. You've learned how to walk through empty rooms with confidence. You've learned how to pray without audience. You've learned how to believe without evidence. That's what happens when you discover your value in me. You no longer wait for others to make you feel seen. Because you finally understand. You were never invisible to me. The world sees popularity. I see purpose. The world measures success by numbers. I measure it by faith. The world claps for what shines. I bless what endures. You were enduring when no one clapped. You were growing when no one noticed. You were healing when no one checked in. And I saw it all. Every tear, every prayer, every moment of restraint. I counted them as worship. So never again say, "No one sees me," because I do. Never again say, "I don't matter," because you do. Never again chase what was meant to leave. Because what's meant for you will never ignore you. I know it's hard to understand sometimes. You think, "Why couldn't they appreciate me?" But, my child, sometimes I blind them to your beauty, so they don't distract you from your destiny. I silence their praise, so you can learn to depend on mine. Because my affirmation is eternal. My love doesn't fluctuate with seasons. I don't see you for what you do. I see you for who you are. You are the one I chose in the quiet. The one I refined in rejection. The one I loved when no one else did. And one day, those same people who ignored you will look at you and wonder how you bloomed in silence. They'll wonder how you kept standing when everything fell apart. They'll wonder how peace followed you when chaos surrounded you. And you'll know the answer. Because you were never walking alone. You were walking with me. They'll see the glow. But they won't know the growth that came before it. They'll see the blessing. But they won't see the breaking that prepared you for it. They'll see the strength. But they won't understand the surrender that birthed it. You learned how to trust my timing. You learned that not every delay is denial. You learned that being hidden doesn't mean being forgotten. You learned that true value is not seen. It's revealed, slowly, divinely, perfectly. And now, the time is near. The season of silence is ending. The same God who allowed you to be ignored is about to elevate you before eyes that once overlooked you. But remember this. The lesson was never about them. It was always about you and me. Because if I lift you without teaching you value, you'll need their validation to stay lifted. But if I teach you value before I lift you, no one can take away what I give. So walk forward with peace. You don't need to explain your worth anymore. You don't need to beg for attention or chase love. You are enough. You are seen. You are valued. And when I bring the right people into your life, they won't ignore you. They'll recognize you, because their spirit will align with yours. They will value what others dismissed. They will see what I've seen in you all along. Until then, stay close to me. Keep your heart soft. Don't let bitterness take root. Forgive the ones who ignored you. They were part of the process that grew your grace. Forgive them not because they deserve it, but because peace deserves you. You're stepping into a season where the value I taught you in private will become visible in public, where your quiet prayers will turn into loud testimonies, where the same people who overlooked you will be witnesses to my hand on your life. And when that happens, don't boast. Bless. Don't seek revenge. Rise. Don't prove your worth. Walk in it. Because you've already learned what true value means. To be loved without being seen. To be chosen without being chased. To be strengthened without being celebrated. You, my child, are proof that silence can be sacred. You are proof that being ignored can lead to intimacy with me. You are proof that hidden seasons build holy strength. So now, when the world ignores you again, smile. Because now you know it's not rejection. It's refinement. It's me, once again, working behind the scenes, protecting what's precious. And when the time is right, I will reveal you, not for applause, but for purpose. Not for fame, but for faith. Not for recognition, but for redemption. Remember this forever. Every ignored moment was an invitation to come closer to me. Every silent night was a reminder that I was still speaking. Every empty space was filled with unseen grace. You were never truly alone. You were always becoming. And now that you've learned the value of being unseen, you're ready to shine, not for attention, but for glory. My glory. So go and live with peace. Love without fear. Give without needing to be noticed. And keep walking in faith, knowing that the one who saw you when no one else did is still watching, still guiding, still loving endlessly. When you were ignored, I was teaching you value. And now that you've learned it, you'll never forget what being seen by me truly means. Do you remember those nights when your heart felt so heavy? When you looked at the stars and said, "God, am I really that easy to forget?" You felt like your presence didn't matter. Like your kindness went unnoticed. Like your love was too gentle for a world that only clapped for loudness. But I was there. Every time you were ignored, I was whispering to your heart, "My child, I see you." You didn't hear me because the noise of your pain was louder than my voice. But I never left. You see, I wasn't ignoring you like they did. I was protecting you from needing them more than you needed me. Because when people ignore you, it hurts. But when you heal from that, you become stronger in ways they'll never understand. I had to teach you to love from a place of freedom, not from fear of losing people. I had to teach you to give without expecting return. I had to teach you that being unseen doesn't mean you're unworthy. It means your story is still being written. When no one checked up on you, I checked your heart. When they forgot you existed, I reminded the universe you were mine. When they left your messages unread, I was writing messages in your soul that would change your future. Every time you said, "No one cares," I was already planning the moment you'd realize I always did. Every time you thought, "I'm not enough," I was showing you that you were never meant to be enough for them. You were meant to be enough in me. I watched you carry pain with grace. I watched you smile when you were breaking. I watched you give your best, even when no one clapped. And I said to the angels, that one is learning the kind of strength that can't be taught by comfort. The world ignores what it doesn't understand. They couldn't see your depth, your purity, your spirit, because their eyes weren't meant to recognize it yet. Sometimes, I hide your light from those who would misuse it. Because you're not called to impress. You're called to impact. And impact requires isolation first. It requires patience, discipline, and pain. You thought you were being left out. But I was setting you apart. You thought you were being forgotten. But I was positioning you for something greater. Had I allowed everyone to accept you, you'd never discover what it means to be chosen. Had I let them all notice you, you'd still be craving their attention instead of my presence. So yes, I let you walk through that season of silence. Because silence strengthens the soul. When they didn't value your effort, I was teaching you to value your peace. When they ignored your worth, I was reminding you that real worth isn't proven, it's revealed. And when they made you feel small, I was preparing to show you that you were never meant to fit in small places. Do you see how everything connects now? How every ignored moment led you closer to me. You started praying differently. You started seeing differently. You began realizing that the ones who walked away were not part of the destiny I had written for you. The truth is, you didn't lose them. You were released from them. Because not everyone who meets your heart deserves to stay. Some people were only meant to teach you what not to accept again. And even their absence became a blessing in disguise. I know you sometimes miss them. But remember, peace is more valuable than presence. You can love someone and still let them go. Because I didn't call you to hold on to everyone. I called you to hold on to purpose. You used to say, "Why doesn't anyone see what I bring?" And now you understand. You were giving light to places that couldn't handle brightness. You were planting seeds in hearts that were never meant to grow them. And yet I honored every effort. Every moment of love you gave. Because I saw it all. When you kept believing even when no one believed in you. When you gave your best to people who barely gave you their time. When you kept forgiving, kept smiling, kept moving forward. That's what made you rare. Now I'm turning your hidden season into harvest. The same places that once ignored you will soon see what I've been building behind the curtain. But you won't rise to prove them wrong. You'll rise to prove that pain can produce peace. You'll rise not to boast, but to bless. Not to get even, but to show grace. Because now you carry something deeper. You carry understanding. You understand that attention is temporary, but purpose is eternal. You understand that not everyone who notices you loves you, and not everyone who ignores you hates you. Sometimes, people ignore what they can't define, and your spirit was always beyond definition. The ones who truly belong in your next chapter will never make you feel invisible. They will see you the way I do. Not for what you do, but for who you are. And until they arrive, I'll keep filling your empty spaces. I'll keep healing the parts of you that people mishandled. Because your worth is not determined by the ones who left. It's revealed by the one who stayed. And I stayed. Through your tears. Through your confusion. Through your loneliness. Through your heartbreak. I stayed when everyone else walked away. Because I never saw you as a mistake. I saw you as my masterpiece. I was never ignoring you. I was investing in you. I was polishing what the world overlooked. I was restoring what people tried to break. You were in my hands the entire time. And those hands never drop what they hold. So don't regret the seasons of being ignored. They made you wise. They made you gentle. They made you dependent on me, not on opinions. Now you walk differently, slower, softer, stronger. You love differently, deeper, freer, purer. You see differently, not through pain, but through purpose. Because being ignored didn't destroy you. It defined you. It taught you that silence can speak louder than noise. That being unseen by them doesn't mean being unseen by me. And that real peace isn't found in being noticed, but in knowing you were never forgotten. I was teaching you value. The kind that doesn't fade when applause stops. The kind that doesn't break when people leave. The kind that doesn't need recognition to stay real. You are walking proof that hidden seasons have holy reasons. That every ignored moment carries eternal purpose. That when the world turns its back, Heaven turns its eyes toward you. And soon, when you step into the light I've prepared, you'll understand why I kept you hidden. You'll see why I let some doors close. You'll realize that what you thought was rejection was actually redirection toward restoration. So breathe. You're not behind. You're right where I need you to be. And even if no one else tells you this, you are enough. You are seen. You are chosen. You are mine. When you were ignored, I was teaching you value. And now that you've learned it, no one can take that piece away from you again.